Hi, my name is Catherine Went with Syscon, and thanks for taking a moment of your time. Today I wanted to talk with you about cross-training of your staff. Many of you have heard of the terminology separation of duties, for instance, and often the CPAs will talk about this. You'll hear about this in various business forums, and a real simple example is whoever signs the checks for you should not be the one doing the bank reconciliation, and we strongly recommend that as well. There are several more, but that's a good example. I wanted to share today with you, not necessarily that list, but a recent experience that a prospect who became our client went through, and some words of warning about being prepared for such a thing in your business. So we got a call, and it was a prospect who I had done some training for their new employees. They had a new one in New York, a new one in Florida. I got them on the phone. We did some basic training. Then I got a call shortly thereafter that their controller had walked out. And now one of the two people that I had just started training, in fact, not really an accounting background person, she was in HR, was stuck trying to get the union payroll out on time that week. So she gave us a call. We helped. Turns out there were some workarounds and some other things that the other controller had in place that weren't documented anywhere. There were no procedures to follow. So we figured out as best we could. There were some errors. We got those fixed on the next payroll out, and we worked with this lady to help this be successful as possible. But really what it came down to is there weren't any procedures. Even the bookkeeper who was helping knew what some of the steps were, but many of them were things where she would go back to the controller and say, I did this. The controller would make a change and then say, now you can continue. We didn't know what the this was, and as I said, there were no procedures. So you might think that that seems very unlikely to happen to you. But if you had a critical person and they're not cross-trained, what would you do? And let's face it, in most of our offices, we can't sit here and have qualified accounting people cross-training. We have one person, they tend to do most of it, and we've got some backups on some of the systems, but we just don't have the luxury of that kind of staffing. So what are some options? What can we do to ensure that our businesses will run smoothly and will avoid penalties and interest for unexpected things should someone walk out, or more likely have a change in their life, or perhaps an illness, and you're caught off guard. So at a minimum, you should have a procedure book, and you should know where it is. And in the procedure book, you should have the basic procedures for your accounts receivable, creating an invoice, accepting cash, putting your payroll records together, getting those tax payments paid, the bank reconciliation. These are just basic things that you need to be sure you have a procedure so that if something happened, a company like ours or a CPA office or someone who's got a background in accounting could get a little bit of training, take out this procedure book, and make sure you don't miss any of those deadlines. So no one should be in a position to hold you hostage. You shouldn't be at the mercy of someone potentially walking out or threatening to walk out. If you just took the time to quarterly or at least biannually make sure that procedure book was up to date and people could actually go through those steps, you would be safeguarding your company, your processes, your money, your business. So if you need any help with any of that, you know where to find us. We'll be happy to help. But please take this seriously. Get on top of this. Is a real life example, and it's very recent. Thanks for listening, and I hope you have a great rest of your week.